All right. Hello, everyone. So first, I will just do the second file real quick. So the first one, it says returns whether there is at least one country with the word island in its name, ignoring case. So what this means is there is at least one means you used any match with the word island. So you can use contains at the end. Well, it's not at the end. It's like a condition. Ignoring case means that you should just convert the whole string to uppercase or lowercase and then compare it. So you can see countries.stream.anyMatch. This will return true if any one of the countries follow the requirement. So in it, they have a lambda which goes country, where country.name. So you get the country's name, convert it to lowercase, and then check if it contains the string island. If it does, it will return true, and any match will return true if anything is true. So the whole thing returns true. Returns the first country name that contains the word island. This is just find first. By the way, they have dot get at the end because find first will return an optional value. So you have to use dot get to get the string out of the optional. In which the first and the last letters are identical. This is an easy leet code thing. The string that lower to lowercase. But this is a unique scenario where they use a lambda, but the return type is shaped like an actual function. So I think I'll solve this one on the IDE because you could technically do it in one line, but it would look very unreadable. So print each country name in which the first and last letters are identical, ignoring case. So as you know, filter will take if filter will need any lambda method that returns a Boolean. So you can have the variable in the traditional lambda, like, so lambda is like input gives output. But there's another syntax for lambda, which is like input gives, and you can actually write the output just like a traditional function. So like this. And if you use curly braces, then instead of just writing the output, you have to give return and then the output name. But that's all. So I'll give you an example of this. So first, of course, we convert it into a string. The country name. So first we will match each country to its name. Now we start the filter. So filter. Filter takes a predicate, right? So we can say it takes X and, well, instead of X, how about we just say country name? And what does it do with it? Instead of just writing like a one-liner, I will actually put the curly braces. And when you do that, you can press enter and it's way easier to read because now it's a full thing. So inside it, what does it say? In which the first and last letters are identical. Hmm. First and last letters are identical. So country name should be a string, right? In this case, so we'll give, yeah, it is a string. So you can see ignoring case. So the first thing we have to do is make it lowercase. So I'll just create a new string and we do country name dot to lowercase. Okay. Then we check if, by the way, you can do a ternary operation here. They're doing like here, they're returning the condition, but I just want to make it easier to understand. So you can do if, then the first and last letters are identical, right? So what is the first letter of a string? We do lowercase country name dot character at 0 is the first character dot equals. I think characters can be compared using equal to is equal to lowercase name dot character at, and we want the character at the last index, which would be lowercase name dot length -1. So if this is true, then you return true. Otherwise, you return false. Of course, you can make it a lot simpler, but this is like I'm doing this so you understand. So this is like just a simple function. You can write it like this and it will work. So now we have a stream of countries where the first letter is equal to the last letter, and then we just print all of them. There you go. Albania, Algeria, Samoa, Andorra, Angola, Czech Republic, Saint Kitts. So it works. That's what they're doing in one line, by the way. First 10 least populous countries, which just means you sort it, like map to long, and then you sort it, and we limit it to 10. This is very similar to SQL. If you want the first 10 something in SQL, you just limit the results after sorting them. Countries 1, 2, 3, doing which one would cover the most ground? Then when is your exam? Oh, Ellen, Peter said that. Okay, if the professor said that this is no if statements are not allowed, then you can just, this condition. All you have to do is just return that because, like I showed it in the previous video. If you return a condition like this, it will return whether it's true or false. Then extra, I think, parentheses. So they should return the same thing. There we go. Well, then if the exam is tomorrow, you have a lot of time. Yeah, you have enough time because I'm gonna start studying computer security from like 8. So you have enough time to do this. So all of this seems easy to do. Because once you understand the basics, it's all the same thing. And another good thing that you could do is you copy this and you go to ChatGPT and you can tell it, explain this to me by step. Okay, it's really good. It even tells you like what the stream holds at every step. Okay, easy stuff. Hmm. This one, you see this one? This is the first example I showed when explaining flat map. This is literally just that, except it uses distinct. So what distinct does is it only uses unique values. Like it only lets the unique values go. So if something is trying to pass in for the second time, distinct would let them pass. But now I'll start number 3. Is like the big boss. So return the largest country. Now here it says care must be taken with the area because it might be null. So if you put a null thing into the comparator, it's gonna have a null pointer exception. So here all you have to do is first you filter where the area is not null. So is it easy to understand or should I do it? Like explain it step by step, the null thing? I guess it's easy enough. Prints the names of the countries with a null area. Easy. First you filter and then you map it to the name and then you just print all of them out. Again, if you don't understand anything, ChatGPT is more than enough. Summary statistics, like I said before, it just like not prints, creates a statistics object. It even says here, returns a double summary statistics. Total area. So reduce is something that's used when adding everything up. Like you could use dot sum as a terminal, but reduce is better for big decimal. So what is big decimal? Big decimal is used for big numbers. So, big decimal numbers. Decimal is like, there's like integer and long. Big decimal is the next step. It's used for big numbers, and when you need precision, that's when you use big decimal. I think it's also big decimal is used for doubles and everything. So it's just a goated data type. Everybody uses it. So reduce is for adding. You tell reduce what operation to perform on both of them. Again, this reduce is something you should paste into ChatGPT and it will explain to you step by step which values. I would, but I don't have enough time right now. So I'm just telling you guys what to do so you can learn on your own. By the way, reduce, the first value is the starting value. The second one is what function to perform on every two objects in the stream. So big decimal dot zero, you don't even have to give it because then it just starts from the first stream. So here returns a big decimal, returns an optional. So the reason this returns an optional now and not then is because here you didn't give an initial value. So that means that if the stream is empty, it's going to return, it could be null. So optional means that it might exist or might not. Here the initial value is guaranteed to be zero. So yeah. Comma separated string, ignore these two. These are too complicated. Just if you want to, oh, now you're using collect. Collect is interesting because collect is the terminal operation that's used the most, and it collects everything in the stream into one of the collections. So this will return a string. Collectors.joining comma will basically join all of the strings into into one big string with some kind of joining string. So this will just comma separate everything. Returns the map of the country code, country name pairs. Now, this is where maps start. This is the part I dislike. So you already know map is something that has a key and a value. So country code, country name pairs. Let's see. So into collect, you can pass in the toMap function. And the toMap function will take two values, the key and the value. So let's see. I'll solve this one. So if you go to country, you can see that it has uh, okay, this is interesting. This country does not have code, but ideally the countries need to have their code. Like the country that they will give will have the code attribute. This one does not. So for now, we shall use I guess it needed to be something unique. Let's just say name. I don't think the name is repeated. So here's what we want to do. We want to have the name and the area. So we want to create a map where it's pairs. Like each pair is name and the area. Name is in quotations because it's a string. Area will be a big decimal, I think. So let's get started. First thing we do, we convert the country list to a stream dot, and now we have a bunch of countries, and I think that's the most we can break it down. Because if we try transforming it using map, then it will get too small. And for example, if we map it to the area, then we won't be able to access the country's name. So we have a bunch of countries and we will do collect. And now this is where the interesting stuff starts. So collect to map, and it's not letting me do to map. So now I already know I'm missing collectors. I have to do like collectors dot to map. Now it lets me do to map. So collectors dot to map. Now to map will take two values. The first one will be the value. The other one will be the, what do you say, the, well, no, first one will be the key. The second one will be the values. And you can also give a third one, but that's for the other one. The third one is the merge function. So I'll explain that after solving this. So the first one will be the key, right? What will be the key? The country name. So we go country name. What will be the value? The area. Area. What is an area? It's a big decimal. Okay. So that's all. Now the problem is, this will return a map. So we need to store it in a variable. So we make a map. What is the name is a string. So we put string, and the area is big decimal. So we put big decimal, and that's all. That solves the problem. Any questions about this? No? Okay. So I was supposed to mention something, but I forgot. Mm, I said that I would explain something after solving this. Does anybody remember? Yeah, whatever. I'll just go to the next one. This function dot identity, instead of that, you could just write country. Identity will just return the object itself, like whichever country is being passed into the stream right now. This is again just sorted comparing. ChatGPT is really useful for this because this is modular. They're passing in one part into another. Returns the number of European and non-European. This is partitioning by. This is a map thing. This is another thing that ChatGPT helps you visualize. So control C it and tell it to explain this step by step, especially partitioning by. So it will create a map, but divide everything by some kind of divisor. So here you want to partition it by the region. So which countries are in Europe and which countries are not. So you can see true, three countries, false, two countries. That's because it's counting. You can see here, counting. You pass it in when you want to count the amount of countries in an area. Here's the list of countries by region. Okay, that's again partitioning and grouping by. Partitioning means like it creates two sections. One is the countries that fit the description, and one side that don't. Grouping by will create multiple groups that have this attribute that's unique. So again, you post it all into ChatGPT and ask it to explain step by step. It will do a better job than I can. Countries by region. So here you can use any of these. What I recommend is you do this, like the first one. And if the lambda you pass into for each, you can see that it takes two parameters. And you might be confused because everywhere else for each on lambdas only take one. But here you can see that if you are iterating over a map, you can take two parameters. The first one will be the key and the second one will be the value. And you can just print it like this. Population average by region. You just use averaging long. It's unfortunately this stuff you will have to memorize it. Or I think you should have it here. No. Yeah, you have to memorize that. So averaging long, return largest population by region. If you can't understand this, just post it into ChatGPT. The most important thing is you understand the basics. The streams before this they're all important because this is just reusing those concepts. Grouped by the first letter of their name, easy. Grouping by, and you just give them grouping by what? The character at 0 and counting. Returns whether two or more countries have the same known null area. So whether two or more would be, I guess, any match. Collect, grouping by. Yeah, this is something confusing. So ChatGPT will help solve it step by step. It just maps all of them to the area and it filters. By the way, objects non-null is the same as saying that is equal to null. You're just filtering it for objects that are not null. Then you collect it, grouping by, function identity, and counting. So what this means is it's all areas, right? Function identity will just save whatever object it's iterating over. So it will say that area and counting. So grouping by is used when two of the keys are the same in a map. It will add it like what do you want to do when two keys are the same? You want to just count. So first area will be 56. It will put 56, 1. Second area will be 57. Okay, 57, 1. Third area, it's 56, and 56 is already a key. So it will be 56, 2. And then entry set just creates the set out of a map. This is another thing you should post into ChatGPT and it will give you the documentation and you convert it into stream once again. Now this is interesting because entry set is a terminal operation. It will return a set. So by putting a dot after this, you are creating a stream out of that terminal operation, which is allowed. And after that, you just do any match where e dot get value is bigger than 1. So any match means that hmm, okay, what does entry set return? Okay. Entry set is a method of the map interface that returns a set view of key value pairs. So in the set, there are key value pairs. So you can easily just check whichever has the value bigger than 1. It means that one of the country has the same known null area and it will return true. So that will be the end of the class. So any questions? I'll start uploading the I'll start uploading the videos now. Hopefully I can upload them before I go to study. All right, I'll assume then everything is clear to everyone and I'll end the stream.